The reason I'm throwing together this video is to hopefully help some other people out there who've had the same issue. Basically, my trigger stop on the right side broke inside the controller. You can tell because the actual toggle will kind of shake around a little bit. It won't stay in place. And when you push the trigger down, it'll actually push through the stop. Sometimes you could feel it. Sometimes it gets jammed in there. Because inside of the controller, this is the entire trigger stop assembly. This screw here goes through the spring, through this plastic piece, and then into another plastic piece that's attached to the controller. Here it is here. It actually breaks off of the controller. So you can't just buy a new trigger stop. You have to either buy a whole new controller or you have to buy half of a controller, the back half, and it would have this piece intact. Here's just a shot of the screw actually going in. Obviously the actual trigger stop and the spring goes in between it, but here's where you can just see that this is the piece that the screw goes into, and this is where it breaks off right here. Mine actually cracked as well. There might be a better way to do this, but here's what I found. It was quick, it was easy, and now I have a permanent fix to my original controller. You're going to want to find yourself a screw. I happen to have this one lying around. If you're planning on finding one or even buying one, I tried to get the exact dimensions of the screw. I think this is a number 10, which means that the threads are 3/16 of an inch. That's the diameter. It is a pan head screw, which means the bottom is flat. That's important because it's going to be sitting against the plastic. You don't want to have a screw that has angled sides. The screw head happens to be between 1/4 of an inch and 5/16 of an inch. And this screw itself is 5/8 of an inch long. That doesn't necessarily matter because we're going to be cutting off the bottom anyway. But this is just to give you an idea if you're trying to find something similar. And here's a quick shot of the screw on a tape measure just so you can see. This is after I cut the bottom off, but don't worry about that right now. So the first step is you're going to take apart your controller. There are other videos online showing you how to do this. Essentially, you're going to get to this part here. You're going to take out this entire trigger stop assembly. You do not need to take out this screw here. You just need to pop this part out of the controller. This is what it looks like taken apart. Again, you don't need to take out this screw. This screw is just what holds in the toggle. You're essentially just going to pop it out. You might need to push on the toggle with your thumb or with a flathead screwdriver or something just to get it to pop out. Once it pops out, in here you're going to find the little piece that I showed you before, the piece that actually breaks off of the controller. It should be easy to find because once you unscrew this, it's pretty much just going to fall out. Take that piece, put it to the side, keep it if you want, but you're not going to need it. Next, you're going to put everything back into the controller, snap this down in its hole, and align it so that the trigger stop is on. Right now it's not in this picture, but push the toggle to where you want it, where the trigger stop is engaged when you push the trigger down. This next step you don't actually have to do, but I did it because I didn't want to lose the spring. Basically, you could just put the spring back in there, or you can leave it out. You're not going to need it. Grab your screw from before, and what I did is I put it right through with the spring in and started screwing it down into the plastic of the controller. You don't want to over tighten it because it will strip and you are going to remove it one more time. So just get it down in there nice to start off with. Here's the hole that I happen to make with my screw. Yours might be a little bigger, a little smaller, but essentially you want to see how far the screw sticks out of this hole. Mine originally came about here, so I marked it, then you unscrew it and you snip off the end. It's not going to be a clean edge, and it doesn't have to be because it's inside of this divot here. You're never going to feel it, you're never going to see it. You don't want to go too far, you want to leave enough so that it can thread itself through the plastic. Here's one more shot of the screw once I snipped off the end, in case you're looking for similar measurements. And here's the length. Once you snip off the end, you can screw it back in, make it nice and tight, but don't over tighten it. Now this is a permanent solution as far as keeping the toggle on. It's an Elite controller, it has the trigger stops. I didn't see a reason that I would ever want to turn them off, so I made the screw nice and tight so that it never moved from that position. In theory, you could loosen the screw a little bit with this spring in there, and you should still be able to toggle it on and off, but I wouldn't recommend this because if you keep moving it all the time, eventually you're going to keep spinning the screw a little bit, and it might mess up the threading and make it loose, and then you're going to have to do the whole thing over again. And at that point, you'll probably have to buy a new backing or get a bigger screw to make a bigger thread and start again. But there's really not that much wiggle room with the screw size that we used. So hopefully this video helps somebody out there to avoid the same issues that I had, going through multiple controllers, multiple trigger stops. I did this fix on my original controller, the one that originally broke. The screw has been in there for a few months now with zero issues. And the cost is literally just finding a screw that fits. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, hope this helped. Thanks for watching.